What is up, Planeswalkers 36 back with some more Magic the Gathering Arena. I do, of course, hope that you go to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. It's a good deal, and it helps support the show. Now, why didn't I do a skit today? Well, today, potentially, marks the era of a competitive set, right? So, I asked whether or not people would be interested in watching a competitive series where I attempt to grind up to Mythic. So, based on what I have right now, it seems like the vast majority of people would try and watch all of those episodes. So I do think it's worth doing. But what I don't know exactly is whether or not I should do best of 1 or best of 3. I've gotten a decent amount of people saying that they do want best of 3, but I want to do another poll for that. So when this goes up, I will also have I will ask in the comments of this video for the sweet that sweet viewer engagement. That's a word. And I'll also have it on my community tab. So be sure to vote and comment on the channel, vote on the vote page to tell me whether or not it should be best of 1 or best of 3, or I guess a mix of both is something I could do, but you know, not entirely sure. Anyway, today we were playing a Jund deck that I got because I follow Arena Decklist. It's literally just at Arena Decklist on Twitter. They retweet a bunch of posts that people make when they're able to hit Mythic or even to like hit Platinum and stuff, and they like share their deck lists and everything. So I found this is a very helpful resource if you're looking for different iterations of decks, maybe just different styles of decks. You know, the one I'm using here is Jund, but there's mono green. There's looks like a Teamer deck. There's a Grixis Midrange deck that looks really awesome. You know, there's just a bunch of different things that you can find here and get a bunch of help. But this deck specifically is pretty much 1-for-1 from a M. Hrivnik. Not entirely sure how to pronounce his name, but it's a cool Jund deck. We're playing some Jund. We're going to Jund him out. So this deck is a mid-range deck. We're going to attempt to get value off of our opponent and win. You know, we're playing a decent amount of value. So, for Llanowar Elves, this is a fantastic ramp card. It allows us to get into some of our higher curve creatures a little bit faster, and it gives us a bit of consistency as well. Direct Fleet Daredevil is actually pretty decent in this meta. If you're able to, you know, steal a shock from your more aggressive opponent, you can go ahead and kill one of their creatures. If you're able to get a Thought Erasure out of your control opponent, very helpful as well. And the fact that it has First Strike means that it is a decent card to both attack and block with. For Growth Timber Guardians, as I've said in the past, this card is pretty much a powerhouse in terms of value. You're going to be able to have a sweet 2/2 for 2, or just give that additional 3 mana and have a nice 4/4. So you can have some really nice games with this. You don't have to, you know, add too much to the board per se. And this card alone is kind of like a 1-card army because you're going to be able to just pay 5 total to make this a decent 4/4, you know. That also drew you a card, but it drew you specifically another 5-mana 4/4 that draws another card. So very helpful in a mid-range style deck. We are running the Explorer package with 4 Wildgrowth Walkers, 4 Branchwalkers, and 4 Jadelight Rangers. This is just kind of necessary against a lot of the aggressive strategies out there because Wildgrowth Walker alone allows you to gain a decent chunk of life, right? If you're able to Wildgrowth Walker into a Jadelight Ranger and have, you know, plus 6 life, plus a Jadelight to block, as well as a Wildgrowth Walker that's going to be very difficult for your aggressive opponents to deal with, you're going to be in a really, really good position. Like that alone, regardless of any other explorers, is often sufficient to cripple the aggro deck's ability to actually burst you down. That said, against control, it's a little less valuable, but the perfect curve, as it were, of Wildgrowth Walker into Jadelight Ranger is still decent. You know, you're still attacking on turn 3 with a 3-power creature. So that is something, you know, that's not something to scoff at. It also gives you some really nice card selection, especially against those control decks, where you don't want to be drawing things that are useless like Llanowar Elves in the mid to late game. Midnight Reaper, another very good card in these sort of mid-range decks, allows you to get value after your opponents decide to kill your creatures. Of course, it doesn't help against specifically exile removal, so you do need to pay attention to Settle the Wreckage as well as Lava Coils, but the fact that if it alone is, you know, single targeted, you're still getting a card, so this is essentially a 2-for-1 in your favor, or if your opponent does wipe your board with something like a Cleansing Nova or a Kaya's Wrath, you're going to be able to recoup a decent proportion of your losses. So very helpful card. The -1 damage to you is -1. The damage that is dealt to you could be significant if you are playing against aggro, so you do need to be aware of that. But it is just a 3-mana 3/2 that allows you to get some sweet value. 3 Ravenous Chupacabras. It is fantastic value because people aren't playing Tocatli Guard nearly as much as they used to, and it's just a creature, so it can apply pressure that destroys another creature. So against the Niv Mizzet decks, for example, you're going to be able to kill it with this. I literally just realized that we're playing 0 non-creature spells in the main deck, other than Domri, who gets creature spells. I'm just not revealing this. I've not actually played with this deck other than exactly once, I believe, to just, play it when I got the deck. But Chupacabra against an aggro deck is a fantastic 2-for-1. Against a control deck, you save it until they play their thing like their Niv or their Drakes, or maybe they could save Nezahal, but it's you wait and play it at certain points. Rekindling Phoenix is just a really annoying card to deal with. This is at 3 right now because I didn't have 4 Domris and I didn't want to use my Mythic wildcards so close to the introduction of a new set. So, I didn't want to use my 1 wildcard. Instead, I wanted to wait for war. So, I accepted the -1 on Domri and added an additional Rekindling Phoenix, and I do think that Phoenix is kind of the best replacement for Domri in that slot because of the fact that it's just so annoying to deal with. It is a fantastic 4-mana 4/3 flyer that requires your opponent to either use 2-for-1 removal on it or exile it. And, not all decks are playing Settle, not all decks are playing Lava Coil, not all decks are going to be able to get myself to block with Rekindling Phoenix, making the egg token, and then being able to play Cry of the Carnarium and still be in a favorable position. So I just think that it is a fantastic card for this style of deck. Domri, we have him at 3 because we didn't have the 4th one. Fantastic way to just give your creatures riot to make them a little bit better, So being able to have Llanowar Elf come out down as a 2/2 instead of just a measly 1/1 in the later game helps. It makes some of your creatures dodge removal a little bit better. And it, just adds mana. It allows you to sequence plays a little bit better. But what's really important with Domri is that his -3 allows you potentially to get just two creature cards, just draw 2 cards essentially, and they're usually going to be the best 2. If you're able to ult them, it's pretty dang good because it's the beginning of each end step, so, your control opponent is not really going to be able to deal with a 4/4 at the end of your turn, a 4/4 at the end of their turn, a 4/4 again at the end of your turn, and that can definitely get out of control. That said, it is relatively slow. You do have to +1 3 times, and then -8 him. So you do need to have him around for 4 turns, but the fact that this is a creature deck means that against other creature-based opponents, you should have a pretty decent time of, maintaining a board to keep Domri alive. But against control, it's all up to whether or not they have targeted removal, if they have Contempt or Ixalan's Binding. Ravager Wurm is a 2-of. I really kind of wish that this was higher, but I'm just going to play the deck that this individual posted, mostly, because Ravager Wurm is fantastic. 6 mana for a 4/5 that has 4 different options. I've been through the options so many times, but just for those who aren't aware, you can give it a +1 counter and fight. You can give it a +1 counter and destroy something like an Azcanta or a Treasure Cove, for example. You can give it haste and have it fight. You can give it haste and destroy a land. Typically, you're going to be fighting a creature, but there are situations where you want to use that second ability, and that's very helpful. But often what is going to happen is you can give it a +1/+1 counter to fight a large target, or what I've done sometimes is I give it a +1/+1 counter, fight a smaller target to essentially make a decent aggro swing to get one of the annoying blockers out of the way. So that is something that you can do. We are running 23 lands, and this is the mana that this individual has it in. I trust this person to have the correct mana, so I'm going to leave it at that. That said, I have been typically going through sideboards at end of games, but because today I'm going to be playing in best of 3, I will talk a little bit about the sideboards. So we have 4 duress. These essentially are just the biggest way of dealing with control. You bring all 4 of those in, and you possibly take out Llanowar Elves. Definitely take out Llanowar Elves if you're on the draw. If you're on the play, it's possible that it's correct to keep them in. 4 lava coils to deal with a number of creatures, opposite Rekindling Phoenixes, Crackling Drakes, the Adanto Vanguard, things like that. Lava coil is fantastic, and that's why we have 4. 2 Kraul Harpooners. This comes in against any really fly style decks. Typically, this is going to be Drakes. It is only a 2 of for that reason. But, it also hits things like Niv Mizzet, it hits Shalais, it can hit Lyras. They will gain life, but the first strike doesn't actually happen in combat for those of you who are unsure. 2 Assassin's Trophy. This just is a catch-all destroy option. If there is something specifically that we really need to deal with, we can bring this in and kind of have no worries that we're going to be able to do something about it. 1 Thrashing Brontodon, likely for Ixalan's Binding and similar things. It just helps us to deal with some sort of pesky artifact enchantment, and it's a decent body first cost. 3 mana for a 3/4 is nothing to scoff at. And then last, of course, but not least, is 2 additional Vivian Reeds. This will obviously come in against other control decks when we just need to make sure that we can keep the gas running. And as I've said several times, Vivien ultimating is pretty dang good against pretty much every deck. But the fact that we're going to be able to destroy one of their win cons, you know, Niv or Hydro Crisis, for example, destroy one of their enchantments like Ixalan's Binding, means that her -3 is pretty much always live, and her +1, of course, just gives you the ability to filter through your deck and, you know, get the cards that you need. So now that we've gone through that, we're going to go ahead and play some traditional ranked. That's what it is. And you might say, why haven't you practiced? Because I think for the competitive games, I'm going to literally just all of the games that I play in ranked are going to be recorded. That doesn't mean necessarily that I'm only going to play in ranked with my ranked decks, but it does mean that all of my ranked progress will be shown. I think this is a totally fine hand. We can go ahead and shock ourselves once, play a Llanowar Elf out. If we want to, we can shock ourselves next turn and play out Llanowar Elf plus Growth Chamber Guardian, but it's more likely that we will just play out the Growth Chamber Guardian. Yeah, I think that is probably the best decision. Our opponent likely on Esper Control, and doing this doesn't commit too much to the board into some sort of board wipe, but we can still get that sweet Growth Chamber Guardian pressure on. Now let's see if our opponent... Oh, it's Jeskai. I legitimately did not expect that. So I think what I want to do here is just play out the Dragonskull Summit and attack our opponent for 3. My opponent may have Seal Away, which would be, you know, a little annoying. But I think this is potentially the best choice. And even if we don't get the value off of dealing that 2 extra damage, we get the value of doing this at the end of our opponent's turn so that they can't kill it in response. Like if we decided to... Sure, that's fine. If we decided to use our... I guess I could have used it there. But if we decided to use our Adapt on our Growth Chamber Guardian, they could have theoretically shocked in response or something. Search for Azcanta, that is fine with me. Yeah, I should have done this in response to the Revitalize, but it looks like it doesn't actually matter because our opponent didn't have anything. Get another one of our Guardians of the Galaxy. 1, 2, 3. So I think here I am going to shock, especially since this is control deck. I'm going to go ahead and shock so that I can play the other Growth Chamber Guardian and be able to use it. And that's the really nice thing about these cards. As I said, it's a one-man army. I haven't committed anything else to the board once I got the first one down, right? This is all functionally one card. That is very helpful. Let's see what they do with this Azcanta. They decided to drop this. I assume it's because they need... Excuse me, that they need a land here. For those of you curious, if it seemed like I'm rushing, I have about 45 minutes, well, technically less, to finish recording this, because Trones is tonight. Well, for you it was yesterday, but Trones is tonight for me, and I'm recording this beforehand because I don't really want to record after I watch Game of Thrones. So we're getting our last Growth Chamber Guardian, but, I mean, this is just, you know, showcasing the sweet power. There's nothing in there that I really care about using, so I'm once again just going to attack. I mean, I think it's fine to shock again. Does attacking with the Llanowar Elves make a difference on our mana? Honestly, I think it's just correct to attack with all of them. So they're at 7, so there's actually no reason for me to even play an additional creature here. I could play a Daredevil, or sorry, I could play a Llanowar Elf. But if they kill exactly one Growth Chamber Guardian, then I am off of lethal. Darn, I guess I should have taken the damage from the land in order to play Growth Chamber Guardian. Because if they have one single target removal, then I do miss out on lethal. I don't need this Llanowar Elf at this point, so I'll just play it. And just end the turn there. Opponent's still pretty far away from Azcanta. They drop Cellar Records because they're just looking for a land. They get a land, so that's nice. So it's very likely that our opponent has Cellar Wreckage here. The thing, though, is that we don't have to attack with anything other than our 2 Growth Chamber Guardians, and we don't really lose out on too much. And we thin our deck of our 2 forests. So we'll attack like this because it is lethal. Yep, settle. So we know they're down 2 cells. I assume this deck only is going to be playing 3. I don't think decks usually play 4. But I can do that. Then I can play out this Growth Chamber Guardian. And I will play this. 1, 2, 3. I'll play this tapped. The question here, though, is do I also play my other Growth Chamber Guardian? Because we lose out a bit if they draw land into Cleansing Nova. But we can't kill them if we don't. I could Dire Fleet into Revitalize. And I think, honestly, that's what I'm going to do here. Darn. Just realized if I do that, I can't hold up my Guardian, which means I would then die to a Deafening Clarion. So I think this is fine then. Also, for what it's worth, it did exile the card. Oh, another Revitalizer on top. So they're still looking for something. Give me something to talk about. How about love? Sweet. All right, we got there in the first game. I'm not entirely sure what the... Why is my Duress foily now? That's fine. Obviously bringing all of the Duresses. I think Brontodon's fine. Vivian is a definite. I'm not sure about Assassin Trophy. We haven't really seen their win con either. Could be Drake's, could be something else. So I think that's how it is right now. We're going to be on the draw, so I do think we take out the Llanowar Elves here. Let's see. 3, we brought in the Brontodon. We don't need the Chupacabra as much. Honestly, I don't think we need the Chupacabra, like, at all. Yeah, I think those are probably just what we remove in this matchup. Obviously, if I see something like a bunch of Drakes and a Niv, then I can adjust my my deck again accordingly. But I would likely, instead of bringing those Chupacabras back in, bring in the Kraul Harpooners, because they're technically still more aggressive. Now, I cannot keep this hand, because it is a 1-lander. Okay, my opponent didn't keep as well. Ooh. Yeah, unfortunately, I also can't keep this. I'll keep this, I guess. That is literally the best card that I could have in this situation. Because, as I said, it's a 1-man army. So we can play this on turn 2. On turn 3, we can use it as long as it lives and isn't countered. That's canted. That's fine. Jadelight is helpful. Go ahead and play this. I'm not sure if I would Jadelight or use the Guardian. I definitely feel more inclined to use the Guardian, though. Did my opponent keep a 2-land hand with? Nope. Nope, they did not. So they do have 4 cards. Banefire? Banefire for 2 on my Guardian. I'm fine with that because... Ooh. So here the question is, do we hold the Jadelight Ranger in order to get value off the Wildgrowth Walker? There's definitely an argument to be made to do that. Opponent has 3 cards, 2 in the bin. It could just be incorrect, but I'm going to do it. Because it makes our Wildgrowth Walker less bad going forward, right? If I just play out the Jadelight Ranger, then, you know, I get nothing, essentially. My Wildgrowth Walker is kind of useless. So we will go ahead and just Jadelight Ranger here. Luckily we have a Growth Chamber Guardian if my opponent doesn't counter, but they don't, which is very helpful. 1 land and a Wildgrowth Walker. That is going to go in the graveyard. There are plenty of other things I'd rather use. That will get larger. I can attack with it. And I can go ahead and just play this down tapped. Next turn, I can play out my Guardian and activate it on the same turn, which is very nice. Okay. So we're actually still in a relatively good position here. Our opponent's still digging for stuff. Okay, so they do have a Niv Mizzet in their deck as a win con, so we do need to keep that in mind. Let's see. Okay, so they very well could. Is there anything in there that I like? Oh, got no type. Actually, this Banefire could be very useful if we end up flooding out. So that is something that we need to keep into consideration. They could theoretically syncopate us for 3. That isn't something people typically do, but regardless, I do want to be able to activate this turn. So I was going to play it untapped anyway. But you know, you could do some fudge things. But I wanted to just make sure that I was able to get through something like a syncopate. My opponent could settle here. Yep, they do decide to settle. So you know, it gets junk out of my deck. I think that might have been a premature settle, to be honest. Yeah, I feel like that might have been a premature settle. Because they're still at 17, they would have taken, what was that, 6 damage, gone to 11? 11 would have been fine, I suppose. They could have just been trying to stock up the yard a little bit. Drop in the syncopate, or the sinister sabotage that's entering. Teferi, okay. Sure. What are you going to do, Teferi? Opponent might have a seal away or something.
You'll thank me later.
A -3 on the Growth Chamber Guardian is not really great. He's going to -3? Wow, okay. I'm going to go and use this now. Just to get my other creature. Right. Sure. Now I could just Daredevil. I mean, since I got settled, I could Daredevil. Can I use the cost? Yeah, spend mana as though it were mana of any type. Okay. So if I play the Overgrown Tomb untapped, I have 2 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I could actually Explosion for 2 to draw 2 cards. So I think that's just the play. And it kills Teferi. And it draws me 2 cards. Yeah, I mean, this is why you run Direfleet Daredevil. Sure, we're losing out on the Banefire, but I'm fairly certain this is significantly better. So we'll do this. Select a value for X. It's going to be 2. Target a creature or player or planeswalker. It's that one. Target a player. That is me. Teferi dies. I draw 2 more cards. And we got a Direfleet Daredevil back. And we got our Growth Chamber Guardian that our opponent knows about back. Since we exiled a card, they're still even on this. Alright, so potentially next turn they can utilize their Search for Escanta, but we do have another Direfleet Daredevil. So we can just choose to say nah. And I could Banefire for 5, so it wouldn't even be counterable. So, no, seems decent, as it were. Put us on 3 cards, we're on 4. Just shows the testament of both Direfleet and Growth Chamber Guardian. Okay, so they do now have the ability to use that. We do have Merfolk Branchwalker. I'm going to go ahead and attack on in. So the question is, do I play the Daredevil now? I don't want to load up the board too much. If I choose to Banefire my opponent, then they're forced to bin whatever's on top if they want to flip their Escanta. I think I'm gonna not do that and try instead to... Okay, so it would have gotten countered anyway. So I think it's fine. We're still going to play the Branchwalker. Yeah, we're still going to play the Branchwalker. If we get a land off it, we can also play the Guardian and keep it... Oh! Well, the problem with that, of course, is our opponent likely not to keep this up. I think I would rather graveyard this in order to try and get one of my Planeswalkers, who will help me out a lot more. I'll go ahead and play one of my Guardians that my opponent knows about, and I will just pass the turn. So yeah, especially since they had that, I'm glad that I kept the Daredevil. Playing basic planes in a deck with Niv, I think, is incorrect. I think all of you should splash white in a deck that wants to play Niv. And play, like, all of your white sources just be the multicolored cards. I think that's the last Revitalize, right? 1, 2, 3... Nope, it's not. Wait. Yeah, no, it's not. So, here... I want my Domri to resolve. 1, 2... You may cast that card this turn. 1, 2... 1, 2, 3... Dang it! I'm 1 land away from being able to cast Direfleet, choose Sinister Sabotage, and actually be able to use it. And my opponent doesn't have any other counterspell in the graveyard besides Absorb and Sabotage right now. They don't. So I believe what I'm going to do is attack my opponent. Do you settle? No, my opponent decides not to settle. I'm going to activate my Growth Chamber Guardian. I would like to take that action. I would get my last Growth Chamber Guardian. It has 3 cards. So the thing is, if I don't get them to use a counterspell, they're going to be able to just Azcanta and likely get another one. The problem, of course, is that my opponent's only been through 2 counterspells and 20% of their deck, and I assume that my opponent is running at minimum 3 of each of these cards. And I don't know the odds. I'll try to just Domri here. I think you just force him to have it. Shut up, truck outside. They had it, unfortunately. Opponent still only has 3 cards. They haven't been able to use Azcanta just yet, so hopefully our pressure on board is going to be sufficient. You know, I mean, as I said, this really shows the power of Growth Chamber Guardian. We have an equal amount of cards in hand. I have more lands as well as a better board. Doing it now does not bode well for them. Justice Strike. Well, that's a card that they would like. I should absolutely do it on my turn. Because if they do it, the reason they should do it on my turn. So I'm going to try and be a little bit more specific on the things I'm saying, just so that people, you know, really understand kind of the competitive aspect. The reason they should play the Justice Strike on my turn instead of on their turn is because if they play it on their turn, I know for a fact that will be tapped out and I can resolve anything I want. And I attack. The reason you attack first, typically, the reason you see, you know, professionals attack first instead of playing things, is you want to give your opponent as little information as you can, right? So my opponent had to do that, or they would have taken 4 damage unnecessarily. I will go ahead, let's see. Still nothing I really want to do here. I think I'm going to save the Daredevil. Do I play Wildgrowth Walker? It's kind of a throwaway card. I think it's fine to play. Because we don't have any Explore creatures in our hand right now. There's no reason to really not play it, since, you know, board wipe's a board wipe regardless, and this just doesn't add much post one. But I really would like to use Daredevil into a Banefire for the finish. It is predicated on Direfleet Daredevil resolving. Ooh, an interesting thing that could theoretically happen in this matchup is if I were to Banefire my opponent, it says that Banefire can't be countered if X is 5 or more, but you can still target it with a spell that counters things. I may have disconnected. I hope I did not, but I may have. Right, so it can still be targeted. So theoretically, I could choose 5, my opponent's at 5. They could theoretically absorb the spell and still gain 3, even though they don't... Wait a minute. Never mind. Absorb has to resolve. And I don't think it would resolve. That's awkward. No, okay, they're the one who's gone, because I've been told that if I've disconnected, my opponent's timer would tick down, and then it wouldn't continue ticking down. So it looks like my opponent has chosen to leave. Maybe they legitimately disconnected. I'm not sure. But regardless, I would like to win this game so that I can theoretically have time for a second game. This is one of the reasons I'm not sure I want to do best of 3, is just because of how much slower it'll be for videos, as well as for actual grinding, since I currently don't have time outside of recording to actually play, right? I play my practice games and I play what's recorded. I very rarely play additional Magic, and that's just purely because grad school, it's essentially a full-time job. It's kind of more than a full-time job, so I'm not really able to play a bunch. So that's kind of why I'm leaning more towards best of 1. But if people want to see best of 3, I'll play best of 3. Ooh. Well, I'll go ahead and attack my opponent. Shut up, computer. I think that was my Discord notification. Yep, it was my Discord notification. Hello, always turtle. Always turtle. Always turtle. Do I want to keep anyone back? This is going in, that's going in. 7 damage puts them to 6, right? 1, 2. Can do that. Sure. Some people might be saying, like, why didn't I Ravager Wurm haste it? My opponent's only used, what, 1 Cell Wreckage? Right? Yeah. So. Alright. So we're going to try and kill our opponent. Does this resolve opponent? You're not saying no. Alright, cool. My opponent's dead because Direfleet Daredevil is fucking dope. Look, it put Banefire right there in the front. Let's cast this Banefire. X equals 5. You cannot counter this. Goodbye. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. No. And we're up to Silver Tier 1. Cool, cool. Radio, let's play another game. Cutting it a little close. Hopefully this is an aggro deck or something. Not a control deck, because, I only have... Math is hard. 25 minutes left. And this is a best of 3. Oh, yeah. Alzion. Not the best. That needs to be noted. But because we have Walker into Branchwalker and we have Growth Timber Guardian just in case we don't get another land, since we're going second, I think this is totally fine. If we can top deck a Llanowar Elf, that's fantastic. A land is pretty decent. Okay, Forest. We're going to get some mono green, Elves. Incubation. Interesting. What deck runs this card? Well, we'll potentially get some information. Merfolk. Okay. So that's another land. That is very helpful. We're going to play this first. We're going to play Wildgrowth Walker into a Jadelight Ranger. And since this is Merfolk, I do believe that they're relatively aggressive. Relatively. I've not seen one that uses incubation. But, you know, typically relatively aggressive. So, you know, Branchwalker should help. Now, of course, them having that on turn 2 is pretty dang good. But if we get another land, we can go Jadelight Ranger into double Branchwalker, and that is crippling for our opponent. So let's hope that this all goes through nice and smooth. So what are you going to play on 3? Deep-Root Waters is not great to deal with. Another Deep-Root Elite is pretty damn good, though. So their board is going to get relatively large. So I guess on 4, I'm more likely to play Chupacabra. Assuming we're going to play a 1-mana Merfolk. Is it going to be the... No, Jade Bear. Okay. So this looks like the +1/+1 counter version. You shouldn't stack all of your counters on one card, dude. Are you really putting all of them on... Really? I mean, you get in for 5 damage here, but that is not correct. I had to double check that we had the mana for it. So yeah, next turn I'm going to Chupacabra. Do I want a Domri? Against Merfolk, do I want a Domri? I suppose I have the mana for it. I might as well. I'm going to gain the life that I lost back. What actually, a really interesting thing here, and they could bounce my Wildgrowth Walker, I guess. But one of the really interesting things here is that since I kept the Domri on top, and I'm at 3 mana, my opponent might assume that I'm going to play Domri next turn, and therefore have no reason to stop putting extra counters on a Deep-Root Elite. But it does look like he is going to go ahead and divvy up the counters a little bit. But I can still kill his 5/5, and that goes a long way. As he plays other Silvergill Adept, is the question. C'est la question pour les âges? I don't know if that's correct. Alright, had 3 Silvergill Adepts. Pretty damn good. I assume he puts these on the second one. Sure, sure. And once again, I'll just, I'll take the damage. because he is going to run out of cards before I do, I think. So we can, you know, we can double up on attack here. I won't block. I'll take 10. Yep, sure. That works. Ow. Play a Chupacabra, kill one of them. Then I can double block the second one. And I'll also be able to double up on Branchwalker. These ones. Next turn to make my Branchwalker a 5/7. Sleep would suck, but I wouldn't be dead. The Merfolk that taps me down, does that kill me? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It would. Kumena, also not great to see. What the hell? I hope you guys can hear the random knocking around. So in the side, what I like to do during the games is think about what I want out of my sideboard as I'm playing. What I would really like Wizards to implement is just a little tab somewhere over here to just check your sideboard. Like, just bring it up in the UI so I can just, you know, quickly double check my sideboard. Because in tournament play, in best of 3 matches, you can at any time just check your sideboard. That is an absolutely legal thing for you to do. Yeah, my opponent's going fucking balls deep. They're going helms deep. Just, of course, unfortunate, but, you know. So, that's something I like to do because, you know, it keeps you, you know, in the game thinking about the next one, right? So, definitely lava coils. Definitely lava coils. I'm actually not sure exactly what else I would like to have. Domri is just not worth it, I don't think. There we go. It's not needed. So the issue here is the fact that he's going to be able to draw 2 cards at the end of my turn. So I'm not going to run out of cards before he does. Sure, that's fine. No attacks. My opponent's going to get to draw 2 cards. If he plays the tap down Merfolk, does he have lethal? 4, 5, 6, 7. My opponent might just decide to tap 5 and put a 1/1 counter on all of his creatures. Yup. I could die to a sleep here. My assumption, though, is that he's just going to get in unblockable with Kumena. So that's one of the problems of actually just playing Domri, is at any time my opponent can just force his Kumena through. So we'd like another Chupacabra here. Ravager Wurm, we can't actually cast just yet. He should load all of his baskets in Kumena at this point. Really? That's interesting. Sure. Ooh, okay. Merfolk goes real wide. Does he attack this turn, though? I don't think he attacks with anything other than Kumena. Tap the Jade Bearer down, attack with Kumena, put me down to 12. It's going to be very difficult to get out of the situation. I think that's the correct decision for my opponent. I have a Game of Thrones to get to in like 20 minutes. Please hurry up. Yep. Functionally what I expected. Just attack, please. That was a dumb attack on the Silver Kill. It's not really good attacks. I would love it for you to bring in the Jade Bearer. Alright. So, My opponent literally can't use Kumena to make his creatures bigger. So, pretty easy to kill this. I can very easily kill this. And I can very easily just kill this. This is alive. The other two die, which I don't really care about. Because he has a better long game than I do right now. You can tap 3 Merfolk to draw a card. Sure. Blood Crypt. I think I played Domri here. I think I plus. I'll play this tapped. Going to play this and put a counter on it. Even though it is smaller than I otherwise would have it, I'm not at a point where I can just do that. So this hopefully is going to incentivize my opponent to attack my Domri instead of my face. Because all I really need is time. Need to get to another Chupacabra, need to get to a Ravager Wurm. Although Ravager Wurm doesn't really kill Kumena just yet, unfortunately. If Domri's out and alive, it could. 4/5 would be 5, 6. Oh no, it couldn't. Darn. The Kumena definitely puts us in a tough spot. I assume you put it on Kumena, tap your Kumena speaker, attack my Domri, and kill it for free. What? Sure. Alright, sure. Did he get all 4 of his Jade Rares? No. I don't know enough about Merfolk to know whether or not this was a good hand from them. I can only assume. Didn't attack. That's intriguing. I'm going to -3. There's no way I make it to 8 with Domri, knowing that Kumena can kill him at any point. The lack of attack there, I think, was kind of strange. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly why. I don't think I can go for the greed. No, I don't think I can go for the greed. I don't think it's worth sacrificing. I think the plan here is Chupacabra and Gross Timber Guardian. So I can just kill Kumena. And that actually puts me in a significantly better position, just having Kumena dead, even though my opponent's going to be able to draw 2 cards. Or my opponent might put 5/1 or 1/1 counters on all of his creatures, which I just disagree with. I think my opponent should just draw 2 cards. Like, they're at 20, they're not under threat. They should draw. I mean, he has 2 threatening creatures, I suppose. It just seems strange, because I can chump block things and get decent trades against a couple of them, or I can take a little bit of damage. So, you know, very, very odd in my opinion. Now I'll go ahead and play this. And the next turn the plan is to play Wildgrowth Walker into Jadelight Ranger. That's going to give me a large amount of life. That's pretty much all it's going to give me, but, you know, it's going to give me a large amount of life. Hopefully my opponent just times out, because they're being so slow for, like, no reason. No attacks, obviously. Need my opponent not to draw amazingly. You know, another Mistbinder would be pretty damn bad. Opponent's been through not even 20 cards. Got 6 lands. I don't know if that's correct. Wow, exactly another Mistbinder. That's pretty dang bad. In the top 19 cards. I mean, yeah, okay. I think this is probably a really good draw for my opponent, right? 2 of their Mistbinders, 2 of their Deep Root Elites, 3 of their Silvergull Adepts. Yeah, I'm gonna accept that this is probably a pretty good hand for my opponent. Yep, I expect that. Why just that one? Like, really? I mean, I could kill it if I want to. Do I want to is the question. It would cost me 4 creatures to kill it. Fuck it. No, because the Growth Charmer Guardian could be larger. I think I'll just chump it. Ooh, Ravager Wurm. Wow, that makes things different.
You're gonna hurt when this is through.
That helped a lot. It gave me a 6/7, killed like a significant amount of power from the board. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 power from the board. And it evened up to the board significantly. Shit, I have 10 minutes! Ugh. I think I'm fine just chump blocking this. Domri has shown so much value already. Even if all I do next turn is play a Wildgrowth Walker with +1 counter. Do I minus here? No, I think I'm gonna plus because I have, you know, things to do this turn, right? I have a plan of action. So it's already going to come out slightly large. Yes, I would like to keep that on top. Except I just remembered that I plan on activating this. Fantastic. We didn't give up, right? That's the thing. It looked like we were in a terrible position, but the fact that we didn't give up was very important. So absolutely we're bringing in 4 Lava Coils, 100%. Do we also bring Assassin's Trophy in? That is definitely potential. And frankly, I think that's good to bring in. Thrashing Brontodon is a decent-sized creature, and it can deal with Deep Root Waters if my opponent's playing it. I don't think my opponent's playing, but they very well could. Now, Lava Coil, what exactly do we take out here? I think that we take out one of these. We're going second. If we're going second, I really like Growth Charmer Guardian in this deck. I'm going to take out the Llanowar Elves. I don't know if that's, like, correct or not, but I'm doing it. Take out one of the Midnight Reapers and one of the Phoenixes. Would I rather keep the Phoenix or the Domri? I think I'd actually rather keep the Phoenix. Domri was very good. Oh, that's another important lesson I can give to you today. Is that even though Domri really helped me win that game, I don't think Domri is necessarily good in this matchup. Domri. This is definitely a keepable hand. We have a turn 2, a turn 3, and a turn 4. All the mana that we need. This is keepable. Jadelight Ranger is going to be very helpful in making sure we don't flood out completely, and Domri will help with that as well. Double Lava Coil is absolutely fantastic. That's pretty much exactly what we want to see in this matchup. But that's something that you need to remember, is that just because a card helped you, or just by itself won a game for you, doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be worth playing in those future scenarios. So here I could Lava Coil this, but I don't really want to. It's not a high priority target, and I think what we want to do is just save our mana for high priority targets. So if my opponent plays their Kumana next turn, it's dead. I'm killing it. But the question is, will they? Because they haven't seen any removal from my deck. Nope, they played Deep Root Waters. So I am glad that I ended up putting in my Chungussy boy. Here we're going to play the Woodland Cemetery, just get the trifecta out there, and we'll play out our Jadelight Ranger. The Deep Root Waters does hurt, for sure. Absolutely keep that on top. All the removal we can get is very helpful. Alright, cool. I wanted to make sure my headphones didn't fall out. Alright, Abigail's going to be a little annoyed because I'm going to be a little late. But, you know, it's not live, so it's fine. I'm not going to block that. I don't give a shit. They decided not to. Play the Kumena. I mean, the thing is, they know about my Lava Coil, so they're not going to be They're not going to... They just played the Kumena. Alright. Oh, so I think he's going to draw a card. My opponent actually messed up. They could theoretically have Dive Down in their hand, but they can't cast it because of this. So that was not good for my opponent, frankly. They can't play anything, right? Because they didn't use Unclaimed Territory for the green, right? They should have tapped this for green, this for green, and then this for blue. And then they would have at least had the appearance of Spell Pierce or Dive Down. But my opponent didn't save it. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. My opponent is possibly going to tap them down to draw a card. And I'm totally fine getting in some damage there. And I'll play Merfolk Branchwalker. I'm not going to play the Overgrown Tomb. I don't care that they know about it. This is a matchup in which I wouldn't want to lose any life. Just to preserve the information. Sometimes you want to preserve information and play the card they know about. Sometimes you would rather just, play as efficiently as you can, not lose too much life, etc., etc. Let's see, what do we have here? We have another land. That's fine because it's a land that we're not drawing naturally. Will I attack them? If my opponent plays 2 Mistbinders... we're the control deck, I think, in this matchup, so I don't think it's correct to attack them. It's possible that I should, but... Luckily, they haven't gotten too much value out of the Deep Root Waters just yet, but I would like to find my Brontodon, or an Assassin Trophy even, before it really gets out of hand, because it definitely can. You have Deep Root Elite and Deep Root Waters out, and it can definitely get out of hand. Well, there's the Deep Root Elite. Luckily, that one comes in first, but that is a target for removal, and he's a target for removal. So these double Lava Coil is definitely going to help, but at least a little bit of the damage has been done. I do hope my opponent actually puts this on the Deep Root Champion, or the Deep Root Elite, sorry. Nope, he's going to go for the Hexproof, and I think that is correct. I think my opponent should be putting the counters on the Hexproof creatures. So he's going to get 3 more counters here. 2 more counters here, sorry. Oh, no, right, I'm dumb. This one came in before him. Yeah, okay, it's fine. Cool. Another Domri is not terrible. Oh, right. I cannot kill Kumena with just 1. Shit. Do I double up on the Lava Coil? Damn, that sucks. I mean, I can play Domri, plus and play Lava Coil to kill this, and then this attacks Domri, I guess. But I don't know if the Deep Root Elite is worse to deal with, or the Kumena, but I'm inclined to think it's Kumena. So I'm just going to double down on Kumena. Could be wrong, but I think it's something I have to do. So he's probably going to give his creatures +1/+1 counters. Just going to do another one. And I did flood out a little. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 versus 7. Yeah, I guess we flooded out relatively poorly, but we did keep a 4-land hand, which isn't ideal, but I don't think we would have gotten a better hand. And, this hand was good. We had 3 Lava Coils in the top, so... Yep, that's what I expected. Luckily, Kumena still dies. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. I functionally have 1. And my opponent has an active Deep Root Waters, so... We're still in a Deep Root Elite, so, we're really not in the best position, especially since our opponent keeps getting exactly what we don't want them to get. Waters into Elite. Into a cantrip. A cantrip Merfolk. Once again, they really should be using Unclaimed Territory earlier. Well, I suppose they might have multiple green. This is... Getting 2 +1/+1 counters per cast of a Merfolk is pretty crippling. I really don't want to go to a game 3. Wow, and their second Deep Root Elite with Waters already in the field. Am I wrong? This is a great draw, right? We had an okay draw. But it just seems fucking excessive. Block this one. I'll take 14. Yep, we're dead. Even if we could Domri, we'd only have 2 mana for 2 things. So, trying to decide whether or not I want to bring in Vivian Reeds. Direfully Daredevil is actually just not great in this matchup. But I don't really want to go lower on my creatures. The thing is, like, it doesn't matter because, like, we're not going to be in creature combat very often. So I think I will bring in Vivians. Yeah, I'm not sure about this. As I foretold, Abigail is not happy. This is a fine hand. It's not great, but it is fine. Because we can play this, hopefully we can play this on curve, and then the following turn, even if we don't draw land, we can use Domri to play Vivian. So we're going to go and play this tapped. Next turn we Cemetery into Wildgrowth Walker. We have Lava Coils, yeah, so we're in a potentially good spot. Does depend a little bit on what my opponent draws. Looks like they have a 1-drop. Oh, okay. Sure. That is nice to see. I do need 1 more land. I did keep a 3-lander. We flooded out a little last game. I would like to not screw in this game. That would be helpful, please. Thank you. Does my opponent play a Mistbinder or a Deep-Root Elite? I will absolutely, unequivocally murder the crap out of that. Hell yes. One of the best cards we could have gotten, the best lands we could have gotten, because of the fact that we don't have additional 1 mana to use, so we can play that now. Once again, no attacks, no reason to run into a creature that can just block for free. If he plays a Mistbinder, we're going to go into a Chup. If he doesn't really play anything super threatening, we're probably going to go into a Domri. If we draw land, we might still go into Chup anyway. But I do want to maximize the value off of my removal spell since we have so few. So even if I could theoretically tempo out a Chupacabra, it might be better to just save it because there are very specific cards that helps me deal with this board. Well, if they don't play another creature, I think I am just going to try and kill their command speaker. No blocks, because then it, you know, it puts them at potentially a disadvantage. I don't know. Did they play another creature? Silvergill? No, they don't. Ooh, I could Jadelight Ranger instead. I actually really like Jadelight here because this becomes a 3/5, so I can block this anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna go in Jadelight here. Be interesting if they brought in. Yeah, it looks like they brought in counter spells. Oh, Trickster. Shit. I didn't see any Tricksters in the first 2 games, so I didn't expect it. I'm fine with getting a land. I'm absolutely fine keeping that on top. We still have a blocker for Commander Speaker. Unless they play Mistbinder, which is, you know, possible. They do only have 3 cards left, so as long as they don't, like, chain Silvergill Adepts, should be okay. Benthic Biomancer. Sure. I don't know if that's a very good card in the Merfolk deck, but sure. So my opponent could very well have that one instant that has like the frog on the picture, I don't remember what it's called, that gives creatures a +1/+1 counter. And I would rather guarantee I kill one of his creatures. Oh, wait, he can double up on a single creature. Do I block at all then? I would rather force it out of them, I think. So I will just go for this one anyway, because it's a better value if I can kill it. No, alright, sure. That's fine with me. So here, I think, since I have an additional Chupacabra, that I just play out the Chupacabra onto the Trickster. Is that correct? I could play Domri on +1. Put him to 6. I can block the Trickster. Or the Biomancer. Domri lives. I'm literally just worried about using removal prematurely, essentially. Or prematurely, as some people like to say. I could, you know, force the issue on this. It is still functionally a 2/2. Sure, I'll force the issue on that card, I guess. Yep, that's fine with me. So in forcing that issue, it meant that they couldn't play the Merfolk Trickster that they discarded, if they did have that card already. And that is something that I did consider. Okay, opponent has 3 cards, I have 3 cards. One of my 3 cards can just murder something if it's problematic. If they play Deeper Waters, I can play Vivian and kill it. Silvergill. Showing a Mistbinder, very interesting. But they haven't chosen to just play that card yet. Especially since now I know about it. It would be very strange not to play it. Okay, so I'm going to get perfect information on my opponent's hand. Okay, Deep Root Elite, sure. And this is kind of the reason that I didn't want to use the Chupacabra a little earlier. Because the question is, do I kill the Elite, or do I save it for the Mistbinder? And I don't know the correct answer to that question. Can Domri, can Vivian. If I play Vivian, Deep Root Elite, I think I'm going to Domri in -3. Wow. For what it's worth, those are lands that we're not playing, so it's very unfortunate that I whiffed, but Domri I'm a little less concerned about losing, and I think it's better to kill the Mistbinder. Please don't tell me you top decked another Deep Root Elite. That would be very annoying. The Domri whiff was not great. Not great. Mistbinder? Sure. My Domri is for sure dead. That's 4/4? Sure. What else do you got? Incubation. That's fine. You want to whiff on that, please? Nope. Well, at least he didn't play it first. "17 cards. Those are some consistent Deep Root Elites. Oh, I chump block that. I chump block that easy. Yeah, my creatures aren't a ton of value to me. I literally might as well chump this.
Things are about to get real rowdy.
Do I get a 2/4 or I get a 3/3? I could also play Vivian this turn. I think I'd rather have a 3/3. Yeah. Go away. Every Merfolk he draws from now on is 2 more additional power on the board. Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish I didn't use my Chupacabra earlier. Who would have thought Slim Shady would be something that you would have bought? Sure, sure. Yep, he's guaranteeing a death on Domri. Don't think there's any reason to trade one of these. No, I don't think so.
You expect me to tuck my tail between my legs?
Ugh, this is like an hour-long video. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the reasons I am considering just best of 1 for the climb. You know, it doesn't give the same thing, you know, but...
The wild wasn't meant to be contained. You can't stop nature.
I mean, I can't even play these. The game's not over, but I'm tired of these damn Merfolk. And plus, I have a person waiting to watch Trones, so... it's fine. Still, you know, we didn't do terribly. You know, we did win, what, 3 of our games. Yeah, I would like to, of course, thank my lovely patrons, especially Salamander, Croft, and Zin, for their continued support. If you'd like to join them in supporting the show, you'll find links to that down in the description below, or you can press that join button. We have 2 channel members. We have Dopey Dopes and Nibilis. Really appreciate that. You can also find the Discord server, where we chat and play games. I do, of course, hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, go and tap that like button, add a subscription to Manpool, cast one of them comments in the comment section down below, share the vid. Crap, pass the turn and the vid to some of your friends, and until next time, all be one. I gotta go watch Trones now.